Okay, so on our continuing journey to understand the nature of existence, here is how we can start or continue our journey. So let's start with naming certain objects. This is a book. These are my glasses. This is a shirt. You can keep going on. So the insight here is that when you name an experience, it becomes an object. But before you name it, it is actually you, yourself. Our consciousness is an intricate dance between experience and interpretation of experience. Every moment of our lives is filled with sensations, emotions, thoughts that flow through us like a river. Before we name or label these experiences, they are deeply intimate, inseparable from our being. They're not something we observe from a distance. They are us. However, the act of naming, of assigning a label to what we feel or perceive, creates a separation. The experience becomes an object out there. The experience becomes an object out there. Something external to us that we can then analyze, categorize, judge. This is beautiful, this is smooth, this is shiny, etc. Okay. And as a result of that, what really happens is that we create the notion of material objects. So before we name an experience, it exists in its purest form. Imagine feeling joy before you consciously identified this is a happy moment. In that moment, the sensation is not something you observe. It is you before you name it. It courses through your body and mind without boundaries or definitions. Similarly, when, say, arises, sadness arises, before it is labeled as such, it envelops you entirely, indistinguishable from your sense of self. This state of unity between self and experience is deeply intertwined, and it's connected to, of course, mindfulness and presence. And many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of experiencing life without judgment or categorization. So, for example, in Zen Buddhism, practitioners are encouraged to simply observe their thoughts and emotions without labeling them. And this practice reveals how deeply intertwined we are with our experiences when they remain unnamed. In this state, there's no I observing it. There is only what we call being, only what we call being. The moment we name an experience, whether it's happiness, anger, fear, or love, it becomes something outside of ourselves. We create a mental label that allows us to understand and communicate the experience, but in doing so, we also create a division. The experience transforms of something we are into something we have. For instance, saying I am angry shifts the emotion from being an integral part of your being to an object you can examine. This act of labeling is both practical and, of course, necessary for human interaction. Languages allows us to share our inner worlds with others. I'm doing that right now with you, and make sense of our own experiences. Without labels, it would be really impossible to navigate the complexities of life or connect with others on a meaningful level. But in the deeper reality, of course, there's no other. However, this process also has drawbacks, which is understanding that there is no other. By turning experiences into objects through naming, we risk losing touch with the immediacy and depth of experience. So this is a double-edged sword, right? Language is one of humanity's greatest tools. I'm obsessed with it. I sell words for a living, but do understand that language always comes in limitations. When we name an experience, we impose structure onto something that may be inherently, in fact, is inherently fluid and dynamic. Emotions and sensations are not static. They shift, evolve moment by moment. Yet when we label them, I am sad, I am anxious, I am happy, we freeze them in time and assign them fixed meanings. Of course, this can lead to oversimplification, even misinterpretation of our inner lives. For example, labeling a complex mix of emotions as simply anger, we might obscure other underlying feelings such as hurt, trauma, fear. Also, labels can carry cultural and personal connotations that shape how we perceive our experiences. A person who has been taught that anger is bad might suppress or judge their feelings instead of fully embracing them. So, how do we reconnect with the unnamed? Because if we did, we would live life more authentically and fully. It would help us to reconnect with the unnamed essence of our experiences. This, of course, does not mean abandoning language, but rather cultivating awareness of how naming shapes our perception. Of course, practices such as reflective inquiry, Atma Vichar, mindfulness, Vipassana, meditation, all encourage us to observe our thoughts and feelings without immediately labeling them. By doing so, we can have experience that is direct and intimate. So instead of saying, say, I feel anxious, one might simply notice the physical sensations associated with the experience that we call anxiety. Tightness in the chest, the quickened heartbeat. And so don't attach a label to them. This approach allows us to stay present, bring presence to our experience, rather than becoming entangled in narratives about what the experience means. So, the act of naming an experience transforms it to something that we call an object. Before that, it's something deeply personal. But when it's an object, then we get into this whole ruckus of analyzing, evaluating, judging. So while this process is essential for communication and understanding, it also creates a separation between ourselves and our experiences. By becoming aware of this dynamic, we can learn to balance the benefits of naming with the richness of simply being present or bringing presence to all experience. Presence is divine. And as we do this, we may discover a deeper connection to our authentic self and the world around us, which is a reflection of the conditioned mind. This connection with the deepest self transcends words and labels altogether. So if you like what I said, please share it with others. and more to come.